welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown, the unofficial sumo podcast for official sumo fans. This is Ryan.
This is Fleric.
This is Jake.
And this is Mac.
And this is the 2024 Grand Sumo Breakdown Aki Preview. We are recording this episode on Monday, September 2nd. On Labor Day, we're working holidays to bring you sumo content.
That's how dedicated we are.
6 days prior to the Basho. So we're going to
love it.
Yeah, exactly right. What am I going to do? Spend time with family on an extra day? Absolutely not. What do you think the weekend's for?
I mean, it's kind of still... Never mind. Go on.
You're right. It's all for sumo. Let's talk about our Patreon really quick. We have a Patreon. We have 3 different tiers, and all the money that comes into the Patreon goes back into supporting the podcast and giving back to the fans. We have a free t-shirt that we give away every Basho for our Bold Predictions champion, and we also use the money to improve the quality of the podcast, like the new microphones that we've been sporting for the past couple of Basho. The 3 different tiers, we have a $1 friend of the show tier, and they get a compliment upon sign up during the Basho that they signed up, and they have access to the Grand Sumo Breakdown Discord, where we have a ton of conversation and play games throughout the Basho. We have the $2 card collector tier. They get everything in the $1 level, but then they also have access to receiving a duplicate trading card whenever I open up a new box of Sumo trading cards. So if I have duplicates of one card, I'm going to make a free-for-all for all of our patrons to choose one, and they have the ability to do so if you sign up at $2 or more. And we have the $3 BFF of the show level. Get everything in the $2 tier, plus the ability to ask us any question that we are blood-bound and obligated to answer. Any and all levels are highly appreciated, and we are very thankful for everybody's support. We do have one new patron that has signed up in the off-season. So, Jake, why don't you tell us all about him?
Yeah, we are incredibly happy to have Captain Smartass. In the spirit of your name, your compliment is that we are so appreciative that you want to better yourself after almost being as good at Ryan at predicting the banzuke. Not quite, but now that you've joined our show, that's the first step into becoming better. Becoming, what? Colonel Smartass? I don't know military ranks. Whatever's
depends
major.
On the branch.
I don't know. Emperor, Admiral, something above Captain. Eventually, you'll make Admiral Smartass, and it'll all be because you contributed to the show to better yourself. We appreciate having you, Captain Smartass.
Absolutely, and thank you to all of our continuing patrons, but this episode, especially to Martha M., where I genuinely appreciate your shared zeal for collecting the Sumo trading cards. On more than one occasion, you have sent me some of your extra cards so that I could have a complete set. You've even sent me cards from the Sumo Heroes series from 2021 without any expectations of anything returned. So I want to thank you for your help in fueling my rampant Sumo fandom, and I look forward to more trades with you in the future.
ChatGPT is getting pretty good and personal on these compliments.
Yes. I'm glad that we abandoned that gimmick because it was funny at once or twice.
Yeah.
And so that person was randomly generated, happened to be somebody I've been trading with. And since I bring that up, I also want to throw shout outs to the Cowpuncher and Paul Baker for also participating in trading cards. We all have traded cards with each other to help us all get complete sets for when the new trading card sets drop. So big shout outs to all 3 of those guys for helping us out there.
We're going to do another card episode soon, right?
I hope so. Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
A blast from the past episode.
Yes.
Yeah. Quick update on amateur sumo. Big one coming up here next weekend. The 6th, 7th, and 8th of September is the Amateur Sumo World Championships in Poland.
Ooh.
So I think it's like roughly like mid-morning to mid-afternoon Poland time. I assume that's going to mean I get up early in the morning to watch as opposed to stay up late. I'm not really positive on that one. Got to do some math.
Yeah, they're ahead of us.
Yep. Well, I mean, yeah, okay, but not as much as Japan.
I would assume like it's like 7-8
hours back. Yeah.
Right.
That
okay. So
right. 8, 9.
Yeah, but like depending on how ahead of us they are, is it more of a stay up late or get up early? So we'll see.
Too into the weeds.
Too into the weeds. Pull it back. Pull it
Ryan's
back.
getting bored. Ryan's getting bored.
Ryan's getting bored. No, that's the big one. And yeah, we actually released our amateur sumo newsletter on time this month, or last month, I guess. I think I had like 2 hours left in August, and I got that one out. So go check that out. That was my my whole weekend so far, was getting put together.
You're on top of stuff right now.
You'd think so.
That's great.
Yeah. But as always, check out our American Sumo newsletter. That's on the GSB blog, GrandSumoBreakdown.wordpress.com. You can find every issue of that. We put one out every non-Basho month. The next one coming up is going to have like 4 amateur tournaments. It's going to be slammed.
Oh, dang.
Yep. Very full.
All right, and before we dive into talking about what's going to happen in the Aki Basho, as always, we're going to take a look back and see what happened in the Nagoya Basho with our Nagoya recap from our field correspondent B. Maybe.
I had it open. I just clicked play.
Error.
Review.
I'm going to start it over.
Thank you.
I literally have no idea what's going on.
Hey guys, B here with your Nagoya Summer Slam Free review. You remember in the mid-2000s, every time WWE Creative got into a rut, it seemed like the default response was put the belt on Cena. Well, for me, it seems like they burned themselves out on the historic first winners thing, which meant it was a Teru wins this time. And I'm honestly not mad about it. Teru still has some go left in him, at least for the time being. So having him dominate the field was entertaining, especially since we don't get to see it that often anymore. However, they did, and this is the thing that pushed it over for me, they did manage to have him drop just enough at the tail end of the tournament to make him still come off strong, but not so dominating that everyone was rolling their eyes like the old Hakuho wins era. On the opposite end of the spectrum, though, you remember how WWE used to punish guys in storyline for personal life stuff? Like the Matt Hardy Lita Edge thing, for example, or pushing Zack Ryder off the stage in a wheelchair while Cena made out with his girlfriend? Well, that's kind of what the Kirishima thing feels like to me. A little personal life drama and tragedy got turned into a crash and burn storyline for him that had him go from rope run to no Ozeki. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they told him to show up to Aki half drunk with a 5 o'clock shadow. It just seems to me there was a lot more making guys look dumb this tournament. Every Hanka was either it made the receiver look like a complete idiot, or the thrower would get just absolutely stuffed in ragdoll. There was no middle ground. Take Oshoma. Dude gets geeked on his own Hanka, and then later in the card, they had Kirishima beat Hoshoryu for some reason. I just want guys to look strong consistently, but consistency is hard to come by, I guess. Anyways, that's all for now. I'm going to try to go through the JSA rides to see if they have any kayfabe rules about Mawashi colors. Could you imagine Kotozakura and the Dusty Rhodes polka dot Mawashi? See you for Ake, baby.
Thank you so much, V. So let's dive into our Aki Sumo analysis, which really is all just a preamble to everybody's favorite punishment, the Sumo Erotica, as prepared by Jake this time. Right, Jake?
Yep.
Whoops.
Oh no.
Dang it.
All right, so I guess
You're so on top of things, Jake.
Oh.
You got the newsletter out on time. Surely you were taking care of all of your responsibilities.
Surely.
That face does not inspire much confidence right now.
Oops. No, I literally just straight up forgot I had to do that. I knew, like,
you knew you lost because
I knew I lost. Yeah, it's not like I forgot
that's
that
what
I
happens.
Lost. Yeah. No, I just straight up did not do that. All right, I'll have it ready for the midway.
We'll do it on the recap. Nobody listens to the midway.
Wow, don't bury your own content there, buddy.
That's not true. They listen to it. It's just out of date in a day.
Yeah.
It's hard to do that and have it be worthwhile to listen to the whole thing.
Yes.
Anyways, okay, well, my bad. Let me actually write it down this time.
While Jake is doing that, let's start conversation with what I think is the biggest story heading into Aki, and that is Takakeisho fighting for his Ozeki status. He has been fighting this neck injury for 2 to 3 years. He's been able to be successful. Last year, he picked up 2 Yusho, but this year he's really been showing the wear and tear on that neck. He hasn't been able to stay healthy. I don't think he's completed back-to-back Basho this year at all. Coming back confirming, no, he has not finished back-to-back Basho this year, and that finally caught up to him on his 9th time being Kadoban in his career. He is dropping down to the rank of Sekiwake. And I keep forgetting that actually this is the 2nd time Takakeisho is dropping down to Sekiwake after he was an Ozeki, as he was promoted to Ozeki and then immediately got injured and had to miss 2 Basho. But then he was able to come back and get 10 wins or 12 wins from the rank of Sekiwake to return. And he's been there ever since November of 2019, and here he is fighting for a chance to get back up there one more time.
To refresh my memory, but the neck injury that you're talking about was when he was squaring off against Ichinojo, charged into him like flat and jerked his neck back, right?
I believe that is the origin of the injury. Yeah, he just ran straight into Ichinojo, and for those that remember Ichinojo, just that doesn't work against a man of that size.
No.
And after that, Takakeisho just has not been able to maintain his health.
He's always been injured in one way or another, way or another, but this one seems to be lingering a lot more.
Yeah, I think the longest, most consecutive Bashos he completed in the top division is 7. And that would have been his first 7 in the top division. He has never matched that since. So wow. Takakeisho, he had to pull out after competing on the first day of the May tournament. That left him Kadoban, and last Basho, he did complete all 15 days, but he could never string anything together. He finished with a 5-10 record, losing his final 4 matches. That leaves him in the same position that Kirishima was in last Basho, where he needs 10 wins to regain his Ozeki rank. As we saw, it is very difficult to do so, as Kirishima was only able to put together 8 wins last time. So obviously Takakeisho knows what he is fighting for. He says, a quote from Takakeisho, "I'll give it my all. That doesn't change. If I can perform my best sumo, the victories will follow." I think the biggest word in that quote is if.
I suppose.
From what we've been hearing from Takakeisho's training reports is that there's really not been a whole lot of training for him. He did not participate in the summer Juryo tour, nor did he participate in the YDC joint practice, which is just all Heias get together and practice in front of the Yokozuna Deliberation Council. He was not in attendance there. And as of yesterday, there were reports stating that he has not resumed training bouts even within his own Heia, and he was refusing to do interviews at the time as well. So things aren't looking the greatest for our buddy Takakeisho here. Kind of what are our thoughts on Takakeisho heading into this kind of what could be a make or break tournament for his career?
I don't think any of us want to take this one.
No.
I'll just, I guess I'll throw out the obvious. It's especially here in that training reports, it's not looking good. I feel like this is probably the beginning of the end for Takakeisho. It makes me sad, but it's all sports usually end this way, of where you just slowly decline and go on down. And it's looking like it's that time for Takakeisho.
Yeah, it's very rare you get the stories like Hakuho, where he comes back, he finishes his last tournament 15-0, triumphant over the would-be person to take over his throne in Terunofuji. And of course, Terunofuji did take over that throne, but not by putting Hakuho onto his back. It was Hakuho stepping aside to let Terunofuji take over. People don't get that storybook ending to sports very often. It is, like Fleric said, much more often just kind of fade away and not be at the peak of your power.
Yeah, I think that the rumors out there where we're thinking that it's possible that he'll just straight up retire, I think that
I
one of
think
the
they're
things.
tabloid rumors at
Well,
this
I mean,
point, but yeah,
the fact that
the
anybody's even
rumors
talking
are,
about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's. I don't think it's at all out of the question that he retires.
Right.
Depending on if he fails, how big of a failure it is to get there. I don't know.
Yeah.
If he gets 8 wins, does he stick around, or does it have to be the 10 or nothing?
So I guess what I'm getting at though is that one thing we've always talked about with Takakeisho is that he is more than anybody else in sumo. He's like he's into the gamesmanship aspect of it. He definitely played a few games with needing 8 wins as an Ozeki. He would get 8 wins, but if he wasn't feeling it, all right, I'm done. I quit. I'm done with this tournament. I got my 8. I'm safe. I'm out. See ya. Like when he returned to Ozeki, didn't I'm sorry, we did already mention this. He got 12. Yeah, he got 12 wins. Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely it was after returning only about 4 tournaments later. He got 8 wins and then just pulled out. And then he was done. Like the day after that he got his 8th win, he was done.
The last, I think
he did the same in March this year.
Yeah, the last 3 times that he's come back after being Kadoban, like in July of 2021, he got his 8 wins. He was sitting at 8-4, lost his last 3. Then he went Kadoban again in January of 2022. He started 8-3, lost his last 4. And then same thing.
End of 2023 here, though. He came back from an 0-15 and got 11-4 and won his Yusho. So it's not a guaranteed pattern, but like the gamesmanship he shows, to me, I guess what I'm kind of expecting from him is if he can't get 10, like as soon as he picks up his 6th loss, I would expect him to be done for the tournament. You know, rest up, come back strong next time or something like that. Or maybe if he gets a 10th win and it's only day 12 or something like that, wouldn't be that surprised for him to pull out and nurse that injury once he got his rank back or something like that. But yeah, as far as like actually retiring, I don't know. He's only 28, but he's been through about 48 years of injuries here. So yeah, I'm really worried that he'll retire if he doesn't hit the goal that he needs. I'm just kind of curious, what is the goal that he's looking for? Obviously, he wants to be an Ozeki again, but like if he misses that, does he stick around at all? Like, is his goal just to remain near the top and try and get that rank back later? I don't know.
Does he want to be like Mitakayumi, Shodai, Takayasu, just kind of floating around in the mid Maegashira ranks with no real hope of regaining their Ozeki status at any point in their career? Or if he can't be at the top of his game and at the top of sumo, does he just want to call it quits? It's not something that we know his mindset on, and I think the results of this Basho will be very telling, unless he gets to those 10 wins and he's back to Ozeki, and then we'll be seeing Takakeisho for a little while longer.
So, but yeah, I guess I kind of think like it depends on where his goals are at. Because if you were to be just like financially, it would be best for him to just take it kind of easy and like almost the way Kota Shogaku did it, where he slowly worked his way down the banzuke as he was getting older and falling apart, but he was still collecting that salary. Whereas Takakeisho, if he quits now, he's done getting paid for it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious what is his goal to maximize his career money, or is his goal to be an Ozeki and maximize his career legacy, or what? So I don't know. If we knew what his goal was, I would say like, yes, if he misses that goal, he's done. But I don't know. We'll see.
It's interesting. You mentioned his gamemanship when he pulls out. Do we think he actually likes doing sumo now? Or is it just injury stuff like he's concerned?
Ooh, good question.
I mean, for a lot of these guys, it's almost impossible to tell like if they like it or if they just do it because they're good at it. There's some guys where it's obvious, but I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean that's all sports. You're gonna have some people that are in there for the love of the game. They would be doing it if they weren't getting paid any money. And then there's some guys that are just naturally athletically gifted. They don't really care about the sport, but hey, I can make a bunch of money off of it.
Yeah.
I don't know where Takakeisho falls in that kind of on that spectrum, but
yeah. I guess to give him the benefit of the doubt, I'm guessing it's because of injury stuff. Normally when he just kind of pulls out early when he has to because he just doesn't want to risk it, which kind of is pointing towards, I don't know. I feel like this is going to be his last hurrah is what my gut's kind of telling me. He still has a chance to keep the Ozeki, but after that, I feel like he has to kind of weigh against his injury And it sounds like he's done that in the past, and he's decided not to do more like sumo bouts in a tournament. So, yeah. Well, I think it'll be very telling, just like you said, Ryan. I'll be curious how it goes down.
Like guys like Hakuho, Hakuho would do sumo for free as long as he gets to be better than somebody else at it. He would do it. I don't think that's Takakeisho though.
No, and he doesn't do it for the pure joy like Ura or Tobizaru. It's like, no, there's no excitement. Like win or lose, you just know that there's gonna be some cheeky little grin or some little move,
sure.
and it's just like, yeah, I mean that you could just tell Ura and Tobizaru, they just love being there. Like, holy crap, I'm doing sumo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do think something else that might be pointing towards Takakeisho starting to think about the retirement stuff is, hold on 1 second here.
Riley coming in to say hello.
Oh, sweet Riley.
Let's see if we get Ryan back quickly to finish.
Yeah, I don't know if we are.
If we need to move on. Oh, he keeps like almost leaning back to the microphone. Like, are you coming back or what?
That's because she keeps almost leaving.
Oh, she's playing games.
We were debating, like, do we wait and let him finish his point, or do we got to just keep moving?
Yeah. No. So my point was, we can edit all of that out, I'm sure.
We can't. It's impossible.
No.
So my point was kind of pointing towards maybe Takakeisho is starting to think about the retirement side of things. It does sound like his Oyakata, Tokiwayama Oyakata, is about, I think he's like a year and a half or around in there out from retirement himself. And it sounds like Takanosho has that Kabu lined up for himself, but Takakeisho has lined up his own separate Kabu for after he retires to take on an elder stock. So it sounds like Takakeisho might have something secured in that area if things were to go south, and that was his mindset, was to retire following this Basho.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That would make sense because Takakeisho is originally from the Takanohana Beya. So he actually is kind of a transplant in his current Heya at the moment. So
yeah,
it would kind of make sense that Takanosho might be first in line to pick up his Oyakata's Kabu elder stock.
Well, now that's taking me down another rabbit hole. I want to see.
I'm doing the same.
Takanosho was also, he did not come from the Takanohana stable. He was always in Chiganoura, which is what the stable was when it absorbed Takanohana and Takakeisho. And then he later swapped elder stock and became Tokiwayama. But it looks like Takanosho originated with Chiganoura, the now current Tokiwayama, and so that makes sense why he is first in line for that elder stock and not Takakeisho. That's a very good point, Flarek. I hadn't thought of it like that.
But that guy, it does look like that's let's see, he was born in 1961, meaning he'll turn 65 this coming March.
So
if I have the right guy. So
mandatory retirement.
Real quick. Yep. So yeah, we'll see what happens to that stable. But yeah, if you got multiple top level guys that are qualifying for a Kabu for an elder stock, I think that'll be really fun to watch from our perspective, just because I think it'll teach us a little bit about the process of how those work.
Agreed.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Ozeki, who've won Yushos, they can branch off on their own, start their own stable, right?
Oh, could be.
Like
I'm not
Kisi
positive
Onosato.
off the top of my head.
I mean, you don't necessarily have to have won a Yusho or made it to Ozeki to start your own stable. I mean,
You have to have some kind of a claim. I know not anyone can just go do it.
I mean, Yoshikaze has broken off and started a stable recently. He's never won a Yusho, never made it up to Ozeki.
But I think he has the longevity to maybe qualify for that too.
We should
I'm
probably
not
do
too
some
sure.
research on this one before we spend too much time.
Yeah, we're
speculating on it.
diving once again.
Pull it back,
We're
pull it
getting
back,
into
pull
the
it back,
weeds
pull it
on
back.
this issue.
But
All right,
I guess to finish off my point, I was trying to say is like he might be kind of like the Oyakata probably retires by March. Maybe that's the time when he's thinking maybe that's when I can branch off and do my own stable or something kind of like that. So maybe he's timing his career towards that. Like
I also did the math wrong. It's a year plus a year and a half, not a half a year.
Okay.
If he was born in 61, that means he's turning 65
26.
and 26. So
Yeah. He can pull
but
off
regardless, it's coming up.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Let's
so
cap
maybe,
off.
So maybe you can pull off a Kotoshogiku and just kind of be around the banzuke for like a year or so.
Yeah,
That is very possible.
Sure. Hang around till that switching point and then everything.
Ryan's frustration through this whole conversation.
I don't know if either of you guys were doing it on purpose, but yeah, of course I was diving in there to just.
Hey,
of course, to get a Kabu,
no. How do I mute Jake?
I don't think you can. It's,
I don't think I can.
Right
I'm
now.
not the owner of the meeting. We should change that, Jake. We should change that in the future. I should be the one in control of all this.
You
so,
wield too much power already.
to cap off the Takakeisho conversation, I want all of us to go on record. Will Takakeisho make it to Ozeki next Basho, and or will he be in Sumo next Basho? I will start, and I will say I can see a world where Takakeisho powers up and gets 10, but I can barely see it. It's very fuzzy at the periphery of my vision. It's very far away from what we've seen so far this year, what we've been hearing in his lack of training reports. I think it's more likely we get another losing record out of Takakeisho here. And I think if that's the case, I think Takakeisho will retire at the end of this Basho.
I'll take the optimist side. I think that I don't think the odds are good, but I guess I'd like to. Maybe my hope is pushing me over the edge a little bit here, but I think he can get 10. I think he'll go like 10-3 and then pull out or something like that. And yeah, stay in Ozeki for a little bit longer. I'm already kind of buying into this point of his stable getting shaken up in about a year and a half, and maybe that'll be the time. But yeah, for now, I'm going to take the optimist side.
I have a question. What do you think is the one positive people can latch on with Takakeisho, since you're taking the hopeful route?
He does not need to train to know how to do his sumo well. I think he needs his body to work the way that it's supposed to, and then he's fine. I don't think that like his style is very focused on getting lower and pushing forward and up and just doing that with the right timing. Yeah. He's been doing this long enough at a high enough level. I think that like it's not a good sign that he's skipping training matches, but I don't think it's a huge deal. I honestly think that if he's prioritizing his health over his technique, that's probably okay. I don't think that he could forget more about sumo than I've ever learned between these two Basho and still be just fine.
To kind of add on to the positive argument for Takakeisho, I mean, last Basho,
you said negative. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but no, I can argue on both sides. Just because I don't think that's what's going to happen doesn't mean
we've perfectly established precedent that we are all fence sitters when it comes to certain things. So,
but for Takakeisho last Basho, what we were seeing, like he could get his opponents out to the Tawara off the Tachi-ai. He could get them close to the edge, but he lacked the strength and he lacked the stamina to finish off those matches. Like once that initial Tachi-ai in charge, if that didn't work for him, he was pretty much toast in that match. So all he need is just that little bit of extra power this Basho, that little bit extra stamina to finish off those matches. Then we could see a much different record for Takakeisho this time.
Sure. Yep, I'm with you there.
All right, I'm gonna go on the negative side. I am not too hopeful of Takakeisho, but I think you do make some good points. But I do think he's probably going to stick around in sumo for the year. I'm also kind of buying in, waiting out to the stable shakeup. That's about a year and a half away. So I think he's going to try to stick around for at least a little bit longer.
And I'll round it out and I'll stick to the positive side as well. I think that he can definitely do it if he just has his body perform the way that he wants. He's, like you were saying, Jake, he's a proven contender. If he can get you to the Tawara, he can get you off the Tachi-ai. He's got you. It's just, will his body perform the way that he wants it to? And I think he'll take care of it, and he'll listen to it, especially with his Oyakata, because his Oyakata in times past has always gone, no, listen to your body. You can persevere through this, but listen to what's going on. So if he says, yeah, I'm going to perform and take it day by day, then all right, let's go 10-5. And I think he'll stick around.
All right, let's move on to our defending Yusho champion, our Yokozuna Terunofuji, and it sounds like his status for the Aki Basho is very much up in the air. He had to drop out of the summer Jungyo tour due to diabetes and osteoarthritis in both of his knees, according to a medical certificate. He did return to the Jungyo, but did not participate in any practice bouts. And then towards the end of the Jungyo, he had to leave again due to further knee issues, including having to have fluid drained from his knees. He revealed that he lost 10 kilograms due to diabetes from the end of the last Basho. And alongside Takakeisho, he also did not participate in the YDC joint practice either. Haven't been getting any training reports out of Isegahama, so don't know if he has kicked up in any practice bouts since the end of the Jungyo tour, since the banzuke has come out. But for me, I would honestly be surprised if we got Terunofuji this last Basho. He just won the last one, so he's got some leeway from the YDC putting too much pressure on him. There's nobody that is pushing for the rank of Yokozuna as we speak to replace him if Terunofuji was to step down. So I think Terunofuji's got a long leash at this point in time. So I think he probably takes this opportunity to get his body right. And if he does enter, I'm going to guess another early dropout after a couple of early losses, because looking at the banzuke, his schedule is going to start off with Komusubi Hirodo Umi and Maegashira 1 Takanosho, with Takanosho having beaten Terunofuji last Basho. In the part of the Basho where we typically expect Terunofuji to be at his strongest on day 14 with the Yusho on the line, Takanosho was able to force Terunofuji out. So I think those are two very tough opponents for Terunofuji. If he does show up, I would expect him to lose one or both of those and pull out quickly if he were to enter. Any other thoughts on Terunofuji?
I was just going to sign on to your same point. He is 2-0 against Hirodomi. That isn't like a huge glaring spot, other than the fact that Hirodomi is on absolute fire right now. But yeah, I think that the other big threats that we've often pointed to for Terunofuji are the big power thrusters, like guys like Abi or Daisho or Takakeisho. But yeah, I don't think it necessarily depends on his opponents as much as it's going to depend on him. And coming off a Yusho, honestly, I would just expect him not even to bother this time. It's not like it's a huge. It's not like it's something he won't do. You know, he's perfectly okay to just never even enter a Basho. He's done it plenty of times. So that's kind of where my expectation is of him this time. He's got like you said, he's got a long leash. He's clearly hurting. 10 kilograms. You don't just lose 22, 23 pounds in the span of a month or two and feel good. So,
yeah, that's not good.
I'm definitely, and I don't expect to see him.
How much of that was fluid in his knees, though?
A good quarter of it, easily 5 pounds.
That's like, everybody, like, you normally lose what, like a pound or so of water overnight just from, breathing. When he gets his knees drained, that's probably the same for him. He walks away like 10 pounds lighter.
They're like watermelons in size before.
Tiny sidetrack here. When my old cat, the one that I grew up with, not one that you guys have ever met, but my old cat, when he was getting ancient, he was like, I think he was old enough to drink in certain countries at the time that he died. But when he was getting old, he needed these fluid shots. Cats do poorly with staying hydrated as they get older. So he'd get these like fluid shots to keep him hydrated, but the fluid, it would be a shot I think in between his shoulder blades, and it would just be like this lump, this hunchback sitting on his back because it takes a few days. Yeah, it'd look like a camel, because it takes a few days for the body to absorb that fluid. And so I'm picturing that kind of in reverse every single time Terunofuji goes to the doctor. They just kind of like they stick like one of those like maple tree syrup taps right into his knee and
a spigot.
Yeah. Ugh, gross.
Yeah.
But yeah, either way, do not expect to see him. I do not expect to see him. I mean,
nope.
All right, let's move on. Fleck, you got a point on Terunofuji.
I looked at his Oyakata's age. He's 64, turned 65 July 6th next year.
Oh, buddy.
Let's spend some time
Isegahama's
talking
gonna
about
have to
Pabu.
step aside.
Mhm.
We definitely need to research this and get somebody
Yes.
that's smarter than us on the on the show at some point.
I think.
no.
Hold on, let me Terunofuji because what's his new name? Because like he took on a new name, like his legal name, because he recently became like a Japanese citizen, and I thought
Oh,
like part of his name was like
His
in
Oyakata.
reference to like
I've-
Oyakata Isegahama.
I've heard that too.
So
So
I wouldn't be shocked if Terunofuji would be in line to inherit the Isegahama Kabu, but there's a lot of politics and money involved in that, so that's not necessarily
yeah.
a slam dunk case.
yeah.
So now let's move on to some Rikishi that we know are competing and are very likely to not retire following the Basho.
As far as we know,
And
Now
those
to the
are-
less depressing section of the
Yeah.
podcast.
Those are our two steady Ozeki in Kotozakura and Hoshoryu. Them alongside Onosato, I think we could probably easily say those would be the three favorites to win the Yusho in a Terunofuji-less field if Terunofuji is not competing. So let's start with Kotozakura. So he hasn't been the image of health this summer either. He briefly had to pull out of the summer Juryo tour due to lower back pain. And after he did return, he only did practice bouts on one day of the remaining Juryo. So, like Juryo tour events, they're comprised of a lot of things. You'll have like Terunofuji was there for the most part, but he was doing just like a dohyo iri. They do exhibition bouts, which if you've watched an exhibition bout, not very taxing or straining on the body.
Sure.
And they'll do like chonmage, like how do you do a chonmage, meet and greet fans and stuff like that. So like Terunofuji was there doing all of that. And then but there's also a portion where they're going to do full on practice bouts. That's the like taxing part of it. And so if you're not competing in the practice bouts, that's telling us that, okay, you're not feeling very good. And so that was Kotozakura on the Juryo. He pulled out for a little bit, came back, wasn't participating in the practice bouts. But after the banzuke has been released, he's back to practice at the Heya, and he's dominating Koto Shoho in training every day, it sounds like. So
Real high bar there.
yeah.
Kotozakura is the Rikishi coming into this tournament probably with the most consistent success this year, not having less than 10 wins in a tournament since Aki of last year, rolling in with 3 Jun Yusho over the past 5 Basho. So Jake, tell me how many wins we should expect for Kotozakura in the Aki Basho and why he should be the favorite to win the Yusho.
I did just make a crack at Koto Shoho. I guess he kind of snuck up on me. He's now at Maegashira 4. So that is kind of a high bar to be dominating that guy.
Never
in
mind.
practice. Yep. Were you thinking the same thing as me?
Yeah, I was. I was like, it's Koto Shoho. But oh crap, he's in
Yeah,
F4.
so what? Who cares?
Never mind.
But no, for Kotozakura, I'm trying to figure out a way to organically work in a nickname where we compare him to Kisanosato. Because that's kind of where my brain is going with him. Like, I don't know, Kisanosato? That doesn't sound good. We'll work on it.
I mean, it's Koto no Sato, but beyond that.
Koto no Sato? I don't know. I don't think either one is like quite right. But that's my comparison point, and I'm sure we've talked about it in the past here and there, but he's got that, like, not only does he like physically remind me of Kisanosato, where it's kind of a meat and potato style of Yori Sumo. He's pretty big. He's very stoic. He's not emotional, and he's just there being a poster child for what sumo wrestling's supposed to be, right? And especially with the consistency, he's been picking up these great records over and over and over again this year. I really think that he is coming into his own. The injury thing is the only thing that is like the only thing that's pessimistic for me about Kotozakura right now. I think he's for sure the guy to beat with that consistency and the fact that he's still young and developing. I don't see any reason to pick against him. Again, if Terunofuji is as injured as we expect, that's going to be just far from the first time. But that's the big elephant in the room hanging over all of these picks. If Terunofuji enters the Basho, it's because Terunofuji thinks he can win it. And if he enters the Basho and is in a physical condition that he can win it, then yeah, I'm going to pick him over Kotozakura. But Kotozakura is the guy that I think will win in a Terunofuji list basho.
Yeah.
Sorry. How many wins? I think that he can pick up. I think he can break out with like a 13 or so here. I think that is perfectly reasonable. He's not in like a complete God mode kind of status that I would expect him to get 14 or 15, but I also wouldn't be blown away if he did. There have been guys that have gone 15-0 that didn't, or 14-1 that did not make sense in terms of their greater career or their recent history or anything. Looking at Tokushoryu here and Goedo. But yeah, he could pop off for, I'd say my low guess for him is probably 11. I think 11 to 15, but my guess is going to be 13.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about Kotozakura this basho. I think in my head I would maybe make him as the favorite. He is probably he's the only like top guy right now that's still chasing his first Yusho. Like you look at the Sekiwake, Takakeisho, Kirishima, Onosato, Abi, all 4 have a Yusho. The Ozeki, Hoshoryu, Yusho, Terunofuji, 10 of them. Kotozakura is the only one at the top still chasing after that Yusho. And so I'm hoping like his hunger here will drive him to that next level. Nothing would excite me more in sumo right now, with the exception of some Onosato hijinks, than like 14-1, 15-0 record from Kotozakura. I think that would be my ideal ending, but I'm also a very big Kotozakura stan.
I would love to talk to somebody that's more well-versed in sports psychology about it. I don't think there's any noticeable pattern in whether or not you've already had a Yusho, how that affects your performance. I'd love to dive into that topic, and that's not for us to do like right this minute, but yeah, does Kotozakura versus Hoshoryu, the fact that Hoshoryu's already won a Yusho, does that change our opinions of how their mental state will be going into this one? I kind of doubt it, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's all I got to say on him for now.
Yeah, I think it depends on the person, how they approach it and stuff like that. So it's hard to really say, except all we can really do is look at results and listen to what they give us.
And yeah, I mean, I'm sure it affects. There are people where their mental confidence level is more important than other people. So I don't know which kind of person Kotozakura is for that sense, though.
Let's move on, talk about our next Ozeki, that being Hoshoryu. We know coming off of the last basho that he was dealing with a hip injury as he had to pull out of the final 3 days of that tournament while he was still in some form of Yusho contention. So you know that he was hurting bad. He only entered the Juryo Tour for the final 3 days of the Juryo Tour, and once again did not participate in any practice bouts while he was on the Juryo Tour. But post the banzuke release, he has been doing some training bouts. He looks like he's full steam ahead going into this. I think he's weighed in at 7 kilograms heavier than the last weigh-in prior to the May basho, so he's been putting on weight. Heard that with that added weight, it hasn't taken away from his speed that he has. So he's still got that elite speed that Hoshoryu has always had. He's just got a little bit extra weight to make it harder to push him around. So Mac,
elite speed. I love that.
Elite speed. That's a great term.
Besides Hira de Umi, who would you say would be faster than Hoshoryu at this point?
Like, wait, that wasn't the question you gave me.
Yeah, well, no, I'm
Mac was ready to swing at a different pitch
now.
Exactly. I'm like, hang on, ball.
But Hira de Umi and Hoshoryu, I think those would be easily my 2 fastest rikishi out of the gate. I don't really know that there's anybody else you would put ahead of them. And if you're top 2 in a sport of 600 people, pretty sure that makes you elite.
They should have an elite speed race to determine who has ranking.
Yeah, in sumo instead dash. I was getting, dang it, I was same joke. Oh, they don't do 40s in sumo, they do 2s.
Yeah. 2s. So back to the topic at hand, Mac. How many wins are you expecting for Hoshoryu this basho? And tell me why he should be the favorite to win this Yusho.
picture, if you will, a man from Mongolia. No, I'm not. I had this whole spiel ready. Like, nah, totally off my game.
That's very Mac of you.
Well, so he's already won a U show. So at this point, he knows what it takes. And now he won it with a 12-3. So circumstances being what they were in that tournament, he still pulled it off 12-3.
A Terunofuji less field in that one.
Exactly.
That he won the U show.
Exactly. He's still young. He's mid-20s. He's doing great. He's got the fire. He's got the speed. And he also has a ton of tricks in his bag. If he can't get you up top, then he's going to trip you, which we've seen multiple times. He is not afraid to use his trips. He's not afraid to use his hips. Hopefully this one's recovered a little bit more so he doesn't can actually do a lot of his hip throws. But he's fast. He's young. He's gaining weight. He's a force to be reckoned with. So I am saying a 13-2. Put your money on Hoshoryu.
So what's it going to take for Hoshoryu to not lose on day one for the 4th consecutive Basho?
Oh, no, write that off. No, completely write that off. Don't
that's
worry
one of the
about
two.
that.
Yeah. Obviously. Who do you expect him to face based on this? Yeah.
It might be no, Maegashira won Tobizaru. Who I think Tobizaru has presented issues for Hoshoryu in the past. That's the big thing with Hoshoryu right now is dropping those matches to those Maegashira. He's lost to Atami Fuji on day one, back-to-back Basho. Prior to that, the other one was Ura to complete the 3 in a row that he's had. But we've seen him lose to guys like Tobizaru, Midori Fuji, just when you would expect Hoshoryu should be able to beat these guys with enough consistency to do better than like the 10-5s, 9-6s he's been putting up this past year. He's just dropping. But he's undefeated against Onosato. He can easily handle him every single time. So there's just...
I don't know if he's undefeated. I checked
against Onosato?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 3-0 against Onosato.
Oh,
they didn't get a face-off last Basho.
The technicality of a Fusen. But...
What?
Whoa. What?
Hold on. Am I missing?
Now we got to bring up the data.
Oh, did Onosato get the Fusen win over Hoshoryu?
That he
Last
did.
time?
Oh, come on. No.
Doesn't count, Fleric. And you goddamn well know it.
I don't know.
Here's the thing, though. He might not beat him if he pulls out injured.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I hadn't considered that.
It's happened in 100% of the Bashos in the last 2 months. You know that we're big data people here at GSB.
Yeah.
Doesn't count,
especially when it supports what we're saying.
Yeah.
Look at the numbers. They corroborate what we're saying.
There's lies, damn lies, and GSB statistics.
But no, I think if he can clean that up, he has shown that he can beat the top level guys minus Terunofuji. But if the whole Basho is minus Terunofuji, why not Hoshoryu? As long as he can clean up those first week losses that he should not be piling up Basho after Basho after Basho.
He gets a couple write-offs. We already discussed this. No, it's okay. We get a couple write-offs.
All right, and then let's move on to Onosato, the other guy that I would put in the top tier of competitors this Basho. He is sitting at Sekiwake. He has 21 wins over his last 2 Basho, so 12 wins this tournament would get him to 33 over 3 Basho. And assumably an Ozeki promotion. He, unlike all these other guys, no sniff of any injury issues. And in fact, most recently, he had a hard-fought training session with none other than Nishonoseki Oyakata himself, the former Yokozuna Kisa Onosato. He put on the old Mawashi and went chest-to-chest with Onosato for 17 consecutive bouts, where Onosato was able to beat him 10 out of 17 times. So I don't know what's more impressive, that Onosato was able to defeat a former Yokozuna 10 times, or that a Rikshi that's been retired for 5.5 years can take 7 wins off
is that
of
a good sign?
one of the top Rikshi in sumo right now. But nonetheless,
it proves
Onosato
that
had the winning record
Kisa
there.
is still pretty good. Like he's
still
tough.
a big boy. He hasn't dropped all the weight like a lot of the other Rikshi do.
Oh, God, he's got to maintain. He's got to maintain to whip these kids into shape.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't lost. Every time I see him, it's still weird. It's still weird to see him with the haircut. Like Hakuho, I've kind of gotten used to because Hakuho slimmed down a little bit, but like most of the guys that are like 40 plus, wouldn't have guessed that they were ever like 300 plus pound sumo wrestlers.
Mhm.
But yeah, Kisano Sato or Nisho Noseki. Oh yeah, pretty obvious. those years of training other people instead of being trained. I hope that he's feeling better, because obviously injury issues was always his big deal at the end of his career. But wow, yeah, that's taking 7 out of 17 against one of the top guys is pretty crazy.
So, Fleric, tell me why screw those Ozeki. No, Onosato should be the favorite to win the U show.
All right, let me pull up my notes. As you can tell, I did my research for this one.
Attaboy.
All right.
So
First off,
we're looking at the Kabu for
The age 65 requirement at this
Yes,
point.
when will his
so
Nisho Noseki is still in his mid-30s, so in 30 years from now.
you
a few
literally
short
just
decades.
you literally stole my last point. No, sorry. Nisho Noseki, he's 38 years old right now, so he's no retirement distractions for Onosato for a long time. So
Yeah.
he's got that going for him. He's got that going for him. But no, the big thing is like I think his biggest competition, I think we can agree, is Kotozakura, right? He's probably the most consistent person this year, but he just has that junior shows. He doesn't have a U show himself. Onosato, he's been there before. He knows what it takes. He's been there before. He has that experience, and he has probably that. I'm just gonna assume like just delusion that he's just better because he's been there before. He's gonna just be able to get the wins that he needs. So he's got the show thing before. He's also beat Kotozakura before, and he's kind of like Goku, where it's like I've experienced 100 times gravity. That means I must train in this.
Yeah.
I've experienced being Kotozakura, and that doesn't 100% line up now that I think about it. But
It's not a perfect analogy, but we're gonna let you go.
It's DBZ.
Keep
We'll
rolling.
accept it.
yeah,
Keep rolling.
but just like Goku, he doesn't necessarily need logic. He just needs to believe that he has logic in order to get what he wants. So he can easily take some matches against Kotozakura. Hoshoryu, he's also gotten a win against him. It was a Fusen. We're not going to pay attention to the fact that he actually hasn't beat him in the ring yet. But once again, he doesn't need that actual logic. He just needs to think he has logic in order to get that done.
This is where a competent editor would put some swelling music behind Fleric's increasingly unhinged ramble about Onosato.
Ryan's face just gets redder and redder and redder.
Yeah. As
Trying
I said,
to think as loudly as I can to Fleric mention that he's beaten Terunofuji twice. He's beaten Terunofuji twice in a row. Say it. Say the thing.
See?
Terunofuji's problem not even being here. He doesn't even need that distraction.
Yeah, but he has the ability to beat the Yokozuna 2 times in a row. So if he could do that, he could beat anybody. That's your training reference.
It's a reference, but like, what good is being able to beat a single rikishi gonna do against other rikishi? That's the distraction. It's not important, actually. It's
You're
not
right.
gonna
How
be
silly
important.
of me.
It's like Ryan
Yeah.
has never even watched sumo before.
No.
And as I mentioned before, Nisho Noseki, still 38 years old. He's still way off. He's not being distracted about, should I retire now or should I, wait later? He's determined. Like, he's good to go. He's gonna keep his eye on the prize. And I think the last one that actually might be a little legit is of the 3 people, Hoshoryu and Kotozakura and Onosato, he probably has the least expectations right now to actually. Maybe like a little bit in the future, people expect a lot better, but right now, everyone assumes like he's still kind of growing into the person he's going to become. So I think he doesn't have the weight of Ozeki expectations that Hoshoryu and Kotozakura have. He's just still kind of the underdog. He's trying to make stuff happen. And I think he can probably use that to maybe get some wins. So I think Onosato is going to take this one. I have a feeling.
He has the advantage of youth as well. Isn't he the youngest of those 3?
Yes.
Not by a terribly large amount. I mean,
Yeah,
Hoshoryu's only 25.
developing. Yeah, he spent his time developing in amateur sumo, whereas some of these other guys spent their time developing in pro sumo.
Yeah, he's
So,
about a
like-
year younger than Hoshoryu, and Kotozakura, I think, is 27.
Right. But
Okay.
but like my point being that these guys have they've all had their time developing in amateur or in sumo in general, and whether you spent your time maturing in amateur or pro is increasingly not a huge difference with some of these guys that come out of amateur sumo and go straight to the top.
Yeah, and Kotozakura is 26. He'll be turning 27 later this year.
For what it's worth, Onosato does already qualify to take over for Nishinoseki if he so chooses.
Just by winning a Yusho, that gets you eligibility for an Elder Stock.
As long as you have competed at least one tournament in the Sanyaku ranks, you are eligible to get one. I mean, by no means is it like a guarantee, but you're like,
right,
you're on the list of people
Potentials.
that could have one. Yeah.
Yeah, potentials.
I wonder about that because I'm pretty sure you have to have a certain number of Makuuchi unless you have some notability on rank. But I think get up to Sekiwake probably qualifies. It gets pretty close up there.
For what it's worth,
like something like 20 Bashos in Makuuchi and like 32 in Juryo.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
combination of the two.
As long as I got it up, yeah. Let's see. 20 tournaments in Makuuchi or 30 total as a Sekitori, which is Makuuchi or Juryo division.
Yeah.
It used to be different, but yeah, it doesn't matter. And yeah, there's only 105 shares total that can be passed around. And because that is a hard limit, they are more and more valuable every year. Currently, they're like in the neighborhood of like $5 million is kind of like where that value is sitting. But it's the only way anybody can become a coach or run a stable. So it's what you got to do. And the requirements, Onosato already there. So 30 years from now, watch out. You know, he might have a lock on that Nishinoseki one.
When he retires at the age of 54.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's actually going to be, it's 27 years and he's 20.
So what's the actual question we're supposed to be going on now?
Hey, is Onosato
how
going
many
to be
wins?
Ozeki after this Basho? What do
Yeah.
you guys think? Yeah, you think so? You think he's
Yeah, I
going to
think
get
so.
12?
Yeah, I think he's got it.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
he's got to get the Yusho with it, right?
No.
No,
Not
If he
necessarily.
gets a 12-3, I think that should do it. That's 33 over 3, all within the Sanyaku. He's got the Yusho kicker on his first in the Ozeki run, so I think 33 over 3.
What about
Even
that
without a Yusho.
unsightly 9 and 6 in the middle?
If you got two that are 12 or more pancaking that or sandwiching that, no, that's not an issue. I know Goedo, I think his was like 12, 8, and 12, or one of those might have been a 13.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about that. It's not great, but if you get 12 or more to cover that up in the last one, I think that shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah. I just know in the past, someone who mathematically hit the 33 didn't get it.
Takakeisho.
Because of the unsightly 9 and 6 in the middle.
There's also like the softer requirements, or I guess what would you say, like less quantifiable ones, like does his sumo look good? Maybe there's like some Fusen wins mixed in there or something like that kind of like discourage it. But yeah, it's 33 is not a guarantee, but it's kind of the rule of thumb. And yeah, if he gets 12 and meets whatever qualitative requirements the council has, then yeah, maybe he'll still get it. We'll see.
Yeah. I guess my ultimate take is I'll push back on just the 12. I think he needs a little bit something extra. Maybe the Jinyusho. If you get 12, you're probably in the Jinyusho or Yusho category.
Yeah.
But I think you kind of need that little extra. I'll take a stand on.
You're not completely out of the realm of possibility there, because I'm looking at Takakeisho right now. His Ozeki run where he met the numbers and didn't get promoted, 9 and 6 from Komosubi, 13 and 2 from Komosubi, 11 and 4 from Sekiwake, 33 over 3, all within the Sanyaku, and he was not given that promotion. Waited one more Basho, he got a 10 and 5, and so that got him 34 over 3, all within the Sanyaku, and that got him his initial Ozeki promotion. So not completely out of the realm of possibility. Takakeisho, similar to Onosato, pretty much launched out of a cannon from his debut. Like, it took him a little over 2 years in the top division to make it Ozeki, whereas Onosato, we're talking within his first year still. So maybe they were like, well, this guy's still young. Let's make sure he extra double, triple proves it. Maybe they have the same argument for Onosato.
Sure.
All right. Let's move on. Oh, and me officially, I'm going to say like 11 wins for Onosato and not quite Ozeki this Basho.
Okay.
Let's move on. Let's talk about somebody that's chasing a bit of history here, and that is Mr. two-time Yusho winner himself, Tamawashi. Tamawashi is chasing the most consecutive career bouts record. It is currently standing with Aki Basho at 1,630 consecutive bouts. Tamawashi is sitting at 1,628, meaning on day 3 of the Basho, he will be the new record holder for most consecutive matches in sumo history. Of course, the JSA, there we go. I had to figure out the right sequence of 3 letters in my head. The JSA,
The acronym.
and in a rare popular move by them, decided not to hold the COVID absences against Tamawashi in his consecutive match streak. So
Good.
that is why this is not like a nice round multiple of like 15 or something like that. But yeah, so Tamawashi, he is on the brink of history. But if he wants the most total bouts ever in a career, he's got some work to do. I believe he's sitting in like 8th place or something right now for most career bouts ever. He needs one more year to make it into 6th place, and he needs to compete for another 2 full years to make it into 4th place, and he needs to compete for almost 3 more years to get into 1st place for the most bouts of all time.
Do they have to be Makuuchi only, or can he fall down and still compete?
He's got to stay in Makuuchi or Juryo. He's got to stay in that 15 match per Basho schedule.
Yeah, those numbers are based on 15.
Gotcha. And that's
Basho,
that was my question. Was like, at this point, like, is that accounting for he falls down to Makushita or Sandanme? But no, so he has to stay in Makuuchi or Juryo. Got it.
No. I mean, it would just take longer.
Yeah.
But
at the current pace, at least for right now.
No. The 1 more year to get here, 2 more years to get there, 3 years. That's assuming that he's getting 15 matches of Basho.
Right.
Yeah. He did just this March also just passed 20 straight years of never missing a match.
Wow.
Yeah. From his March 2004 debut in Jonakuchi to March of 2024, that's 20 years of sumo. Wild.
Wow. And he is also currently 7th on the all-time list for most consecutive Makuuchi bouts. So while he has the record for or he will have the record for most consecutive bouts, not all of them were in Makuuchi. So he's still quite a ways away from the lead on that. He has 987 consecutive bouts in Makuuchi, and the record is Takamiyama with 1,231 consecutive matches in Makuuchi.
And that's mainly because between 2008 and 2013, Tamawashi bounced down to Juryo a couple times, just breaking that streak. But yeah, he's never missed a match. But yeah, because he has bounced around divisions, it's a little bit off.
Yeah, and it looks like he is 6th on the list for just most Makuuchi bouts of all time with 1,332.
Jesus.
And the record there is 1,470 for Kyoku Tenho.
Yeah, so all sorts of records here for longevity. I mean, as always, everybody at all times has a risk of a big injury. And for him at 39, if he were to have I don't know, one of those like 8 months off knee injury type things, that's for sure the end of it, right? But I mean, other than that, I don't really see him looking older or worse than anybody else. I think he's just a freak athlete that has refused to age for a while now. And I wouldn't be shocked at all if he went another 3 years of like middling Makuuchi, maybe even another Yusho. He's like,
he has slowed down in the past year or so. He was kind of living in the joy and the Sanyaku for a good stretch of time. I would say from about 2016 to 2022, he was kind of like living in the joy, living in Sanyaku. But this past year, his ranking has been a lot more double-digit. Maegashira Basho is kind of around like 8, 9 in that range. So his rank is dropping as his age is getting up there. So I mean, he can keep it going for a little while longer. But I think we are starting to see a little bit of decay in Tamawashi finally.
Maybe you're definitely right there. I think that maybe what I'm seeing is I'm not seeing him like some of the older guys look like older and creaky. Like Terunofuji is looking a little creaky when he's not doing sumo. He's moving around very awkwardly and slow. but like Tamawashi looks fine. You know, like he may not be as good as he was at doing sumo, but like he's not one of those guys that I worry he's going to die the second that something bonks him wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's I guess I would not be surprised if he hit another 3 years of doing sumo, even if he did drop down to Juryo or something.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about our Makuuchi newcomers real quick. We're going to have 2 new Rikishi joining the top division for the very first time. First one is Onokatsu, who is making his top division debut at Maegashira 14. So Onokatsu is in the Onomatsu stable alongside his fellow Sekitori Onosho.
I love that.
Onokatsu and Onomatsu.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. He is 24 years old, and he debuted at Makuuchi 15 in just November of 2023. So he's another one of these Rikishi in the past couple of years that has quickly risen to the top division from the Makuuchi Tsukedashi status, just like Onosato, just like Haku Oho. This is his 6th career Basho after spending 3 in Makuuchi and just 2 down in Juryo.
Real quick, want to note, he is 24, so he's another guy that did a lot of his maturing in sumo outside of outside of the pro ranks. So he's certainly not starting from scratch, but at 24, he's another guy like Atamifuji or Onosato that you might expect at his physical age to be up higher if he has hit his peak. So yeah, I would expect him to, if he is another phenom like this, I would not be surprised for him to make it up near the top pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe, I think he might have beaten Onosato in an amateur tournament recently. I can't confirm if that is correct, but I feel like I read that recently that he did beat Onosato in an amateur tournament. So
amateur tournament records are super spotty.
Yeah, like it's just an interesting note.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason that I do the newsletter and stuff, because like there isn't a database out there for it. So like you kind of have to make one. Oh, well, anyways.
But his fighting style, he's kind of similar to Onosato and Terunofuji, and like these kind of real quick risers to the top division, and that he's just straightforward bull rusher. He has 24 wins by Yorikiri. The next highest Kimarite that he uses is Yori Taoshi with 3. And then the next highest after that is Okuridashi with 2, and all others he's used only 1 time. So he's getting your belt. He's pushing you out. That's what he's going to do. Then our other top division newcomer is Shiro Kuma. He is in the Nishono Seki stable alongside of fellow Sekitori Onosato. He's 25 years old, and he's been friends with Onosato since either college or high school. I know that they've been longtime friends even before they both got into Grand Sumo. He debuted in Sumo in May 2022. He didn't get any Tsukedashi status. He started all the way down in Jonokuchi, and he got off to a fast start, winning a Yusho in his only Basho in Jonokuchi and his only Basho in Jonidan. He had only 5-2 records or better his entire lower division career. And then after spending a year in Juryo, he got a 12-3 last Basho. And despite Jake saying otherwise, he is making his top division debut this Basho.
I make one offhand comment without Ryan there to correct me on a banzuke thing, and I will never live it down.
I think this will probably be the last chance to really bury you for that.
Yeah.
You did claim it's probably not going to make it up. He's probably not enough to get up there.
Did I say probably? Because if I even put in that qualifier, then this hate is even less justified.
Oh, just for my desire to hate you, I'm just going to say, no, you didn't. You said.
Okay. I said definitely. Got it.
Yeah. Or if my name is not Jake.
Pretty sure
God is my witness. This man will stay in Juryo.
Pretty sure you staked your sumo career on it.
Well, I'd have to have one first to. I have a podcasting career. I wouldn't say that I have a sumo career.
You have to quit all amateur sumo appearances.
Yeah, that really doesn't harm me that much. Like I said, I'd have to have a career to lose one.
Back to Shiro Kuma.
Hang on, Flack has a point.
I thought you were done. I was just gonna say I like his name a lot.
Polar bear, white bear.
Yeah, Shiro Kuma, white bear, polar bear.
Yeah,
Easy one.
I just I as someone who loves this kind of these tangential storylines for me to attach, the fact that he is best buds with Onosato, and I'm sure they just go out adventures all the time and are just best buds and play basketball at Nishonoseki's Heya. Yeah, I am a big fan of this guy. I think I love him now. Let's go.
Clark's new favorite.
Yep.
I think so. I believe Nakamura Oyakata, the former Yoshikaze, he recently split off from the Nishonoseki stable to create his own stable, and he brought a bunch of his own recruits with him. I believe Shirokuma was a recruit of Nakamura, but he decided to stay at the Nishonoseki stable instead of splitting off with the rest of them. I think that was mostly due to his friendship with Onosato.
Cool.
But
I hope they have to have playoffs against each other eventually.
Oh, that would be amazing. I think I saw a stat because Shirokuma mentioned like that's what he wants as well. He wants, like, more than anything, he wants to have like a playoff match against Onosato. But I think I saw a stat saying it's been since 1997 since we've had an interstable playoff match.
Oh,
where we have two
Wow.
Rikshi fighting against each other that we normally wouldn't get during a Basho. So we are way overdue for something like that to happen.
Let it be so. Make it happen.
So his fighting style, just another guy that just wants to get to your belt and force you out. His top two Kimarite are Yorikiri with 39 instances, Oshidashi with 23 instances, and his next most used Kimarite is Yori Taoshi, and that is 8 uses. So
yeah. Meat and potatoes.
exactly. All right. Just gonna do some quick hits here. Takanosho, he is our he was very close to winning the Yusho last Basho in what would have been an incredibly shocking rise and downfall for Terunofuji. But Takanosho pushed Terunofuji to a playoff, just missed. He's now sitting at Maegashira 1 East. It's been a hot minute since Takanosho has been in the Sanyaku ranks. The last time he was there was in March of 2022, but he's in prime position to do it now. Do we think Takanosho can make it back into the Sanyaku ranks after his impressive performance last Basho? What say you, Fleric?
Up into Sanyaku, I think the Sanyaku is way too competitive for him to actually have it happen. But I'm hoping you can maybe do some bouts to show that he's still got some stuff. But I don't think the consistency's there at the moment.
All right. What are our expectations for Hira Doumi? I feel like he keeps exceeding our expectations. Last Basho, in his Sanyaku debut, he got a 10-5 record, his best record since he has been in the top division. And alongside of that, he got a very well-earned Gino Show Technique Prize. What are our expectations for Hira Doumi this Basho, Mac?
Pain.
Pain? Pain
Oh,
for
no.
who? Him or his opponents?
Well, that's why we're going to leave it
Yes.
open-ended. Yes, there we go. As you said, with
excellent.
that elite speed, all you're going to feel is the sting. Now, whether it's the sting of victory or defeat, that is what's unknown at this point. But with Hira Doumi, you're going to be entertained regardless.
That is excellent fence sitting, Mac.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
impressed.
Notice how he did not say good or bad at all.
It's like I've done this a time or two.
Fine.
We
I'll say
have
it. I
nothing
think he's
on
gonna
the
do
line.
great.
There's no reason for us to fence it.
I
here.
know, right? I think he's going to do great. I'm excited for him. I love having tiny boys, and every now and then one of the tiny boys does, goes on a roll. And for the moment, Midori Fuji is not the guy. So instead, it is going to be Hiradomi.
Completely tosses him aside.
I mean, Midori Fuji, he had a run, but it seems like people are kind of figuring him out. We'll see. Hiradomi,
Yes.
haven't hit the peak yet.
Well noted tiny guy Hira Doumi at 285 pounds.
Mm-hmm. He's well below average size. You can't pretend
Yeah, I know,
otherwise.
I
No. You don't get to don't get to pull that one out on me.
What you got, Flarek?
Yeah. So when you were talking about Terunofuji, about him pulling off, and that I was being sad about that, you also said you mentioned Hiradomi, because I guess Hiradomi beat Terunofuji last Basho.
No, Hira Doumi has never beaten Terunofuji, but I do
Okay.
think Hira Doumi's fighting at a very high level right now, and I
Mhm.
think he's going to be a tough opponent no matter who he's going up against.
Yeah, it's his intensity.
He was brought
right,
up
so-
because he's very likely Terunofuji's first or second opponent.
He should.
Okay.
If Terunofuji were to compete, he would be Terunofuji's day one opponent.
Got it.
Okay. So I forget the circumstance of how it brought up, but what it did like in my heart is actually I remembered how awesome Hironomi was last Basho. So my excitement for him is actually probably up there with the Takakeisho storyline, the Onosato, Hoshoryu, Kotozakura storyline as well. I am really excited to see how this guy's gonna do.
Mhm.
So I am
Yep.
I hope he does well, but like I would love it if he continues doing his small boy sumo stuff.
Real quick reminder, he's also only 24. He is part of that newest generation. He just joined Pro Sumo at like minimum age, so he's done all of his developing within the pro ranks. But yeah, he's around the same age as guys like Onosato and all the other young guys.
Mac,
right.
Kachikoshi, Makekoshi, Hiradoumi.
Kachikoshi.
Okay, we got him off the fence.
There we go.
And
Come on.
can Kirishima start a new Ozeki run? We know if he wants to get back up there, he's going to have to do it the hard way. But I mean, just last year, we saw him do that, seemingly kind of out of nowhere. So he could pull it off again. He says that his neck feels better now. That's at least the second or third Basho in a row that we have heard that. But Jake, what say you? Does Kirishima, does he have what it takes this Basho to get double-digit wins and maybe put in the back of our heads he could make it back up to Ozeki the hard way?
No.
Hot take.
Mark my words, he will end up in one of those 7-7 matches on the last day. I'm gonna need to I'm gonna need to see more out of him before I trust that he's back. And honestly, before his Ozeki run, didn't really show huge signs of being an Ozeki threat for like 2 years or so. He just kind of like slowly worked his way up. It wasn't really until his Ozeki run that he ever had more than 10 wins. Or I guess he had 11 in his Maegashira 17 debut. But like other than his 3 in his Ozeki run, he's not a double-digit guy very often. So I think that putting together another one of those runs is a massive order. I don't think Kirishima's got it.
Okay. And we have Wakataka Kage, one of those guys that's kind of, I would say, at that same level of talent as Kirishima. He won a Yusho. He was battling for Ozeki before his devastating knee injury. Blarick, how do we think Wakataka Kage does this Basho, sitting at the rank of Maegashira 7? Last Basho, he came back to the top division for the first time since his knee injury, and he went 11-4 from Maegashira 14.
Interesting. I am kind of honestly, I'm trying to remember what I remember from Wakataka Kage last Basho, but I feel like I was not 100% impressed. So I guess my expectations are pretty low at the moment. So I'll go with like I think he's probably gonna maybe get like a 8-7, like a slow rise. I don't think he's gonna do another double digit. And my expectations are pretty low. I think the people ahead of him are better than him right now.
He was 11-4 in the last tournament.
You're wrong. The people ahead of him are not better than him.
Start
off with that.
Let me clarify this a little bit more. I think he's still underranked for probably where he's at, but I am not seeing him winning consistently against the people in the Joy right now and getting a Yusho.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Yeah, I don't foresee Ozeki Wakataka Kage anytime in our future. But yeah, is he better than like Gonoyama and Meisei, who are ranked directly ahead of him? Yeah.
Yes, he is.
But Flerick, the reason why you were getting bad vibes from Wakataka Kage last Basho, I have 4 names for you: Takafuji, Kageyaki, Shodai, Ichi Yamamoto. Those are the 4 Rikshi that defeated Wakataka Kage last.
Let's be honest.
Not
there's
inspiring.
One name of Shodai that I think is the culprit.
For me, it's Kageyaki. But you know how I am with Kageyaki, that old guy.
Yeah, that guy.
That guy.
So yeah, it's he definitely has talent. I think he's just not there yet. We saw with Asanoyama of where he was an Ozeki before, and when he came back, like he's just been struggling with injuries, and it feels like he just was left behind during that time that he was not competing with the best. And so it's kind of, I'm noticing the same with Wakataka Kage. And I don't think he's there yet. I will hope to be proven wrong, but I don't think he's there right now.
Before we move on, I do want to make sure that we highlight Bushozan. Last Basho got his first winning record in 4 tries in the top division. He's risen up to the Maegashira 12 rank. It'd be very interesting to see if he winds up on somebody's team as a chump when we get to those selections. And I think Chura no Umi.
Foreshadowing.
We're not there yet.
I've put zero thought into my chump pick, so I'm just kind of scanning the board, making my first thoughts,
Giving us your impressions. Excellent.
Yeah. Also, in that conversation, Oho at his career high rank of Maegashira 2, and Chura no Umi at his career high rank of Maegashira 7. I will say, I've been hard on Oho over the past couple of years, but I will say the past couple of Basho, like he's been in Maegashira 3, Maegashira 4, 2 and 3 Basho ago. While those didn't result in winning records, I do think I have seen some improvement in his sumo. He had a 9-6 record at Maegashira 6, earning his way up to Maegashira 2. I will say for Oho, I have been seeing some incremental improvements in his sumo. I feel like he doesn't give up at the edge of the Tawara like he used to in years past. I still don't see him as a Sanyaku mainstay, and definitely not as a potential Ozeki, but I will throw some flowers to Oho. He has been doing better than I expected.
He's honored.
Fine.
I was just about to give Ryan credit and be like, you know what? He's actually giving Oho some props.
Trying
like,
to extend an olive branch to the Oho defenders out there. And
that's what I mean. Bravo. Congrats.
And apparently their lead correspondent, Jake, just don't want to have any. So I guess it's just back to fuck Oho.
I'm not like the leader of his fan club. I'm just the only one who doesn't want to write him off as like a completely over the hill, 22-year-old, 24-year-old.
A big difference between
There's
a lot of people who are never
24.
going to be Ozeki, Jake, and he's just one that I chose. Why are we so mad?
You keep bringing it up. Every time you bring him up, you talk shit about him.
And I was trying not to. I was trying to be very
You're
nice.
making a huge point out of this is, for the first time, he's not the worst person in the world. Oh,
I still don't see him as this and this and this. However, it's like, okay.
Oh man.
But you know what? Now I know that opinion is not wanted from me. And so
my positive opinion of Oho is exactly the same as your negative. It's driven by each other.
I know. I hope Oho goes 0-15 and rots.
Jeez.
Whoa. Let's see what else. Is there anybody else you guys wanted to talk about on this Banzuke we haven't mentioned yet?
I don't know. I think there's a lot to talk about here, but I think we'll get caught in the weeds doing it for 2 more hours if we let ourselves.
Yeah.
So
sounds like a good time to me, honestly.
Hey,
join our Discord. Find out.
My toddler's nap time. My toddler's nap time is finite, so I can't be here all day.
Fair enough. I do want to just mention some lower division Rikshi real quick. Haku Oho, he is in striking range of making it back to the top division. He is sitting at Juryo 5, so any record with 10 or more wins for Haku Oho could see him returning to the top division in November. Terunofuji, our Yusho winner in March, drops down to Juryo 11 following another injury last Basho, but he still remains in Juryo. Hopefully he can just run roughshod over Juryo this Basho and make it to the top of the Juryo ranks next time. And then there's a couple of hot shots in the top of Makuuchi that we should highlight. One being Satoru Fuji of Isegahama. Not that they need any more powerhouse young Rikshi there, but he is Makuuchi 1. He is 20 years old with a 47-16 career record. So he is knocking on the door of becoming a Sekitori next Basho. And the other one is Aonishiki of the Ajigawa Beya. He is Makuuchi 4. He is also 20 years old. He has a record of 32-3 in his career. He started off with 2 7-0s and has had 3 6-1 cents. And so if he gets another 6-1 or hell, an unthinkable 5-2 for Aonishiki, he could easily make it up into Juryo. And this is of note, Aonishiki from Ukraine. So he could, I believe, Shishi's also Ukrainian, correct?
Yeah, Shishi's also Ukrainian.
Yep. So we could get another Eastern European Rikishi in the Sekitori ranks following this Basho.
You didn't even have him on your list, but Wakai Kari is also Makushita 2. He's only 19.
Holy
wow.
cow.
Yeah.
Youngin.
We should definitely keep an eye on this, maybe touch base on the midway and see how these guys are doing.
Yeah, he's in the Issei no Umi stable.
Yeah, I don't know that one off the top of my head.
Looks like he debuted in January 2023. And so, yeah, he has yet to have a losing record. He's been 4-3ing his way up Makushita for the past 4 Basho. So another 4-3 could see him join the top division. So that's a group of 3 very young Rikishi that could be forcing their way into the top 2 divisions in short order. So there's
Pretty
definitely a youth movement that is continuing that we have seen over the past couple of years. So with that, let's take a quick break and we will come back with some more fun and games. If you enjoy the Grand Sumo Breakdown podcast, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast listening service.
You can find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search for Grand Sumo Breakdown.
Support the show on Patreon and check out our blog, grandsumobreakdown.wordpress.com.
If you have any questions, comments, or corrections, drop us a line at grandsumobreakdown@gmail.com or give us a call at 805-613-7866. That's 805-613-SUMO.
Also, watch us on YouTube.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at our GSB belt real quick. So to remind you guys on the rules, this is the 3rd iteration of it, but we took the very first match of a Basho. In this case, it was Natsu this year. We took the very first match. It was between Dewa Taikai and Sawai Samu. And the winner of that match took the GSB belt, and whoever beat that guy would take the belt, and whoever beat that guy would take the belt, and so on, and we'd see how long it takes to get to the top division. We are now dealing with our 3rd time with the belt on Inami. Inami is now at Makushita 32. He held the belt at Jonokuchi 8, lost it for a while, got it back at Jonidan 27, lost it for a while, and now has it back, and he's up into Makushita. So I don't understand how that makes sense, but cool.
Apparently.
Yeah, this was following last Basho. We had a minor disaster where a guy in Makushita lost the belt to a guy down in Sandanme. So the belt just took a stupid vacation down 1 level lower and got promoted right back up to where it was. So we just took a detour, I suppose. Cool, whatever. So yeah, keep an eye on Inami. We'll do a follow-up on the midway and the recap episodes. We also have the loser's belt that started at the same time, and we wanted to see how long it would take the belt to get from Yokozuna all the way down to Jonokuchi, where the person who lost the match got the belt. So this belt of futility has made it from Terunofuji at Yokozuna all the way down to Meisei at Maegashira 6. This one is taking
Progress?
It's progress. But almost all the progress is happening by demotions, not people you would expect a higher ranking guy to beat a lower ranking guy, right? Just in all else in a vacuum in general,
Yes.
probably, right? But that just isn't happening. So we've been doing this for half of a year, and the belt is just chunk, 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 goes back up, chunk, 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 whatever, and it eventually has made its way down 12 people. So cool.
Fun fact about Inami, our current GSB belt holder, his only 2 losses are while he was holding the GSB belt.
He only has 2 career losses.
He is undefeated without the belt, but then his winning record takes a dive once he has the belt on him.
He's 19-2. Yeah, because he has gone on, let's see, his first streak was 5 wins, then he went on 7 wins, and now he's on 7 wins again. And yeah, each time he gets the belt, he only holds it for, let's see, he wins the belt, he has defended the belt once each time, and then he immediately loses. So yeah, it's happened twice, therefore it's a pattern.
He can't handle the pressure.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to Chump, where I believe we're not able to read the statements from our patron winner and loser from on the recap for the last Basho. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, so we are going to read the losing statement from HPO, who intentionally tanked this last Basho. In order to get on the podcast, he selected Kageyaki as his champ and Onosato as his chump.
Great picks for tanking. Yeah.
For a while, it didn't look like he was going to pull it off. But I think in the end, the Onosato special prize put him over the top. And that got him the loss. And so he said, thank you for the fun content. Shout out to all the GS peeps, especially to Chewy Ken and Cowpuncher for the match of the Basho efforts. And so, yeah, I got to second that. Big shout outs to Chewy Ken and Cowpuncher. Those are the guys absolutely thriving in our match of the Basho. Discord
cutting us clips and everything. Yeah.
Yep. So big thank you to those guys, and thank you to HPO for participating. We'll see what you can do this time. And then in our
Flarek.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I really appreciate that there's a race to the bottom, and that's Takakeisho. That's the Takakeisho level of gamemanship, and I applaud you.
Yes.
If your goal is to get on the podcast, it's probably harder to win than it is to lose, right? Everybody's trying to win.
Well, you say that, but our winner is now 2-time patron winner, Adam. And he says, what a terrific roller coaster of a champ-chump competition, this Basho. I felt so good about picking Terunofuji well into week 2, but the Yokozuna has more of a flair for the dramatic than I ever expected and picked up the points I needed at the last possible moment. 10 Yusho is an extraordinary achievement, and I'm glad we got to see him bring his best. Apologies to my excellent chump, Sada no Umi. Hopefully he can get a couple more Kachikoshi before the end of his career. As ever, thanks to Grand Sumo Breakdown for being the best place to follow sumo, and to my mates in the Discord for being the best place to chat about it. So thank you to Adam for the very kind words, and we'll see if you can make it a 3-time winner. You've got a very good reputation in the champ-chump game. And we're going to go to the exact opposite of that. Bad reputation in the champ-chump game. We have Jake kicking things off with his champ pick.
Not only did I lose, but I forgot to do my punishment.
Yeah. Jake, before we do that, we need to figure out between Mac and I which one of us is picking second.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And third.
Yeah.
Because
I hope
we both
you guys
tied with 19 points last
Yes. And I volunteered to find a way for us to do a tiebreaker. So I hope you guys are up to date on your vocab.
Probably not.
Get your Discord open and your typing fingers warmed up. I am going to take the first correct answer, unless you both blow it, and then we'll get a new question. So, tell me, what is the name of the Kimarite for an underarm pulling throw? Underarm pulling throw. Ryan has his answer in. Let's see if Mac has an answer for it. You are both well off. Actually, Ryan was only a little bit off.
Yeah, it starts with an S.
It is
Dashinage.
Shitate Dashinage.
Shitate Dashinage.
I had said Uwate Dashinage.
Right. And
That's
Mac, I don't know what Mac was thinking. Mac went with Uchigake. So I think Ryan, it's just going to be, when does Ryan get the right one? Because Mac's all over the place.
Let's just say I was closer.
What is a Sotogake? Sotogake.
Well,
Mac has a guess in.
I think Mac's right, actually, now that
Mac, this time the roles are reversed. Ryan was well off with a beltless arm throw.
Yeah.
And Mac was almost right. He said inside leg trip.
Damn it.
It's an outside leg trip. Exactly.
Do we just want to give it to him, or how long are we going to?
We'll go one more here.
All right. Best 2 out of 3. I've got one close. Mac has one close. We'll see.
Exactly. Best 2 out of 3. Who's
closest
closer
this
here?
one? Yeah.
Who is most famous on our show for executing kakenage? It's a meme. I'll tell you that.
I don't even know where to go with that.
Let me tell you the definition of kakenage. Maybe that will help.
Yeah.
It is translates to hooking inner thigh throw, performed by lifting the opponent's thigh with one's leg while grasping the opponent with both arms, then throwing the off-balance opponent to the ground. And no, Mac, I am not famous on our show for executing kakenage.
What?
Mac's guess was
going to be
Jake.
you.
Yeah, that's why I said you. That's why I was like, wait, isn't that the move that you do normally? And you said famous for the show, so I thought, of the four of us, it would have to be you.
Ryan at least guessed an active wrestler, which is Endo. The answer I was looking for was Aqua. Aqua keeps attempting the Kakenage and blowing it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I thought you meant like show as in the four of us. Like who was most likely to do a sumo move?
Absolutely not. Ridiculous assumption, Mac.
I would say that's definitely a trick question because I assumed the exact same thing.
Okay. All right. Yeah. What's the name of the move that I do?
No. We can keep on with Ryan winning. I don't care.
No. It's fine.
No,
it's just like
what's the move that I do then? What is the move that I keep doing in practice that I should give up on? Any of the three of you?
Ashitori.
There you go, Ashitori.
Yeah.
Ashitori is the one.
Are essentially the same. Sometimes you grab.
You're not Terunofuji.
I'm not Terunofuji, yet my instincts keep trying to convince me I am. All right. So with Ryan taking that on a technicality of actually guessing a wrestler who's real, we're going to move on.
Are you saying you're not a real wrestler?
Yes, I've already made that joke this episode.
Let it be known.
That's not even a new joke. That's a callback. All right. So with that, though, with my losing, I am the first pick for the champ. I'm going to put my money where my mouth was earlier and say Kotozakura.
Damn it. I was really hoping Kotozakura would win this Basho, but Jake...
You guys actually did believe that, didn't you? Regardless of who you were defending earlier in the show. Okay. All right, Ryan, second pick for champ.
I feel bad for Fleric. Because I think there's three obvious ones, and then, like, where do you go after that? But I'm gonna go
gets for winning.
I'm gonna go Onosato for the second consecutive show.
All right, so Mac, your third
compelling
choice.
argument. That's what I'm hearing.
Shit.
Mac is taking the third pick with his third choice.
I've literally my number one, number two, they're both gone.
Well, as long as you have a number three, you should be good.
Yeah, right. You should pick the field at this point.
You should pick whoever you think is going to win the Yusho that isn't Kotozakura or Onosato.
Ooh, that hot take.
Take my advice. I'm very good at this.
Very helpful.
I've got a little more faith in him than Fleric did, so I'm gonna do Wakataka Kage for round 2.
Oh, okay. Max throwing for content.
Okay. Throwing for content. Yeah.
All right, Fleric.
Okay, I was not expecting that, but I kind of knew who I was gonna. I kind of was picking myself into this as we were going through the show. But if I can't have Onosato, who am I to not pick his best buddy, who's now also in Makuuchi? I'm gonna go with Shirokuma.
It's a throw off.
Maegashira 16.
No, we're stealing from our patrons. We're racing to the bottom. Watch Wakataka Kage and Shirokuma just completely clean up, and then the top level guys are. Yeah, I don't know.
It can happen. It can happen.
Yeah, I haven't seen from mid banzuke yet, but bottom banzuke, I'm hoping I'm gonna get like a Takakeisho thing kind of going on. Let's go.
It wasn't as long as I thought, because I was surprised Hoshoryu wasn't selected. But Hoshoryu, the last time Hoshoryu wasn't selected, it was just back in Hatsu, so just a 2 Basho streak. But all right, Fleric, you get the first choice of chumps.
All right, I'm gonna go with the. I have to sound out the name in my head so I don't mess it up. Nishikifuji as my chump. To go Maegashira 17 slot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
I actually get my number one pick. I'm gonna go Terunofuji.
Not even a 6-9 record from the bottom Makuuchi spot could keep Nishikifuji out of the top division.
Yeah, he cannot be removed from the top division. Yeah, you guys didn't catch it, but on our banzuke episode, we talked about how ridiculous this is. Nishikifuji went 6-9 from the very bottom slot on the entire banzuke, and he stayed put.
They didn't kick him out?
Nobody stays put for a 6-9. Sometimes you get 7 and 8s. Like every banzuke, there's usually 1 to 3, something like that. But 6 and 9, unless there's like a weird circumstance, like a COVID basho or something, never happens ever. And it happened twice on this banzuke.
Let's go.
It was a very ludicrous banzuke. And yes, Nishikifuji, picking a guy who does not deserve to be in the top division whatsoever, great pick.
Wait a second. So this was a very ludicrous banzuke that had like stuff happens that normally doesn't happen at all.
There were two or three ludicrous things that happened on it. Otherwise, it was pretty straightforward.
And so it's coincidence of where this is the one that Ryan got best banzuke guy, the one where it made no logical sense at all that he happened to be the correct one.
No, honestly, that's correct. He was the guy who best managed the chaos.
In my defense, it was me and our aforementioned patron that joined recently, Captain Smartass. Apparently, so he had the same exact prediction as me, and the reason I won the Yusho for Guess the Banzuke is I submitted mine before him. That was the tiebreaker that it had to go down to. And so that is why I won the Yusho and Guess the Banzuke this time.
Very Ryan way to win it.
But hey, it still fucking counts.
It sure does.
It does.
Scoreboard.
Count.
Probably wasn't going to go this way prior to this episode, but oh ho.
Yeah.
It was coming.
Yeah. Okay. I could go. So I didn't expect to have as many options as I do, but yeah. So here's a couple thoughts. As long as I'm last pick, I can voice these. Takakeisho wouldn't be a terrible pick here.
Probably wouldn't.
It would be a roll of the dice that could very well work out for me. Let's see. There's other guys like Hirodoumi could potentially collapse here. Like maybe it was a fluke. I don't think.
But you don't want to
dare.
cheer for Hirodoumi to do bad.
No, and I'm throwing out a few ones that are like high risk, high reward. And yeah, I mean Wakamoto Haru has been falling off recently. That's another high risk, high reward. I could pick the new guy, Shiro Kuma. I could go just straight after Fleric, like go for the jugular and bet the opposite.
Do it.
Same for Onokatsu. I don't think either of these guys are likely to do terribly, but still could pick them. Kitano Waka, I don't really have faith that he is a top division guy.
Wow,
but
Jake's
the guy
really
that I'm going to pick,
Ryan here with the last pick.
okay. Well, here's my last one though. I'm going to go low risk, low reward here though. I'm going to pick Chiro Naomi. He's at his career high rank. I don't think he really belongs there yet. He doesn't seem like a guy that is poised for a breakout. I'm going to go low risk, low reward. Pick a guy that is higher than I think his skill level is, but not a crazy risky one.
Not going with Bushozan again. I am surprised.
I mean, Bushozan would have been the same thought process. A guy that's more likely to get like a 4 to 6 wins kind of a spot because I don't have faith in him. But Chernomi, yeah, same thought process, but that's where I'm going with it.
His beware, his Oikata is 54 years old. So he's also
he's got 11 years of no distractions. Yeah. Good thinking.
All right, yeah. Looking at these teams, I'm I'm afraid of Jake's team. So I'm curious what kind of crazy asinine stuff is going to happen this Basho to make Jake the loser once again.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, it's for sure going to be me. I'm excited for the road to get there, though.
I'm sad. I'm pretty sad because I really wanted good things for Kotozakura this Basho.
Oof. But now you have to pray that he breaks a leg or something like that.
No, Fleric, bad.
I hope he gets the sniffles so badly that he has to pull out, but is fine. If I'm gonna lose eventually, I hope he just gets like a silly word that would indicate really bad sniffles, but something that sniffles but worse. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
He's fine, but
like pneumonia.
Yeah.
No, God.
See, that's too far.
What about mono?
Mono, there you go.
Yeah,
from kissing too many people.
No real long-term issues other than that if that's how I'm gonna lose, that would be okay.
Yeah. All right. So these are kind of our predictions for the upcoming Basho, who we think is going to do well, who we think is going to do poorly. Send us your predictions on social media. Send us your bold predictions. We have our Twitter thread live. Whoever has the best bold predictions at the end of the Basho will win a free Grand Sumo Breakdown t-shirt. Give them to us on Twitter. Put them in the YouTube comments. If you're in our Discord, there's a thread created in our GSB Games channel for the bold predictions. Send them via email. Send them via carrier pigeon, however you want to get them to us. We will read them if they're good, bad, or the best on the recap podcast. So with that being said, what is everybody most excited for in this Basho? I'll start with Mac because I don't know yet myself. I have to think on that.
I'm excited to see what Onosato can do. I would love to have a new Ozeki into these ranks, particularly a young guy that's on fire. So let's see it. I'm on excited. Let's see what Onosato can do.
I have come up with an answer real quick. I apologize. I don't know if it's what I'm most excited for, but it's what's the most obviously intriguing thing to me is Takakeisho, this Basho. I think I'm scared to see what's going to happen and the ramifications that it could have for his career, and somebody that we've been watching since we started watching Sumo back in 2016. And beyond that, Onosato and obviously Kotozakura winning his first Yusho this Basho.
Yeah, I definitely am watching, excited for those two things. I guess I will add in the eventual buddy cop friendship between Shirokuma and Onosato. So I just hopefully Shirokuma will pull it off and get up to the top of the joy of where they're just decimating everyone left and right, but they can only face off in the playoff because they're best buddies and the same Heya. So
you guys literally took 2.5 of my top 3 answers. I was gonna say
there's only
Onosato.
so many things.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say Onosato, then I was gonna say Takakeisho, and then I was gonna say the 2 newcomers. So I guess I'll hitch my wagon to the Onokatsu train here. Especially as another amateur sumo guy, I am loving how these guys have. As an amateur sumo fan, I am loving how these guys have kind of elevated that to feel like a perfectly legitimate path to becoming the best at sumo. Stick around a couple extra years in amateur, earn yourself some accolades that way, and then kick ass through the lower divisions of pro sumo. That's the way to go. I love it. Onokatsu being one of the last guys to get that high of a Tsukedashi ranking on entering sumo.
Yep.
What is it down to, like Makuuchi 60 or 100 or something?
There's only 60 in Makuuchi, and if you're getting that, you have that great amateur success, you've won amateur tournaments, that you're able to start in Makuuchi. It's no longer Makuuchi 15 or 10. It's Makuuchi 60.
There you go.
Yep.
So this last burst of guys that get that upper Makuuchi. Excited to see where Onokatsu can go with it.
All right, so that is going to wrap up our Aki preview. The Basho is going to be starting on Sunday, September 8th. Almost forgot to mention this. We are going to be doing our popularity poll at the end of the Basho. It's going to be based on this banzuke, so you're going to vote for who your favorite Rikishi in the top division is, who your least favorite Rikishi in the top division is, and this will be the 6th year that we have done this. It is one of my favorite things that we do on this podcast. I can't wait to see what the results are. We'll see if Ura can be a 3-time defending favorite Rikishi in the top division, as well as Abi. Ura wouldn't be 3-time defending.
I thought it'll be his 3rd time. Hoshoryu.
It'll be his 3rd time winning, but Ura has won twice, just not in consecutive years.
Gotcha. Okay. Because didn't Hoshoryu win it last year?
No, Hoshoryu won it 2 years ago.
Okay.
Ura won it last year. And
Gotcha.
We'll see if Abi can be a 3-time defending least favorite Rikishi. I know he is back-to-back least favorite Rikishi. We'll see if this year, if he has kept the hate alive in the hearts of the GSB fan base.
I love that. He's more hated than anyone is loved.
Yes, absolutely he is. So we will be sending all of that out at the end of this Basho. So keep that in the back of your head. Think of who your favorites and least favorites are. We want to get a lot of responses on this. Like I said, this is my favorite project that we do every year. So you have that to look forward to. And thank you for listening to the Grand Sumo Breakdown podcast. Until next time, throw your salt high and keep moving forward.
Who do you think gets Ryan's bus driver Kabu when he retires?
go. And I've got the trophy back in my background now that I am once again officially best banzuke guy.
Did you banish it to the closet?
Yeah,
beforehand?
since
when he's not,
since I wasn't number one in the standings, I didn't put it in the closet. I have a nice little display off camera.
Did you at least cover it with a towel?
In shame, obviously.
In
yes.
shame.
Okay.
I like how
That's
putting it
all I
back in your
asked.
background means like it's still halfway hidden behind your little cat tent and everything.
I have nowhere to put it in the forefront unless I'm literally just holding it the entire time.
And why wouldn't you?
Thank you.
That would be on brand.
Up
for
a little
your
bit. We
brand
can't quite see the
podcast.
plinth.
As-
There we go. Yep. A little
there
bit
we go.
lower. Can't see the
Myself.
goat.
Lower,
Yep,
lower,
right there.
lower.
Right there. No, right there. Stay right there. Yep, hold it.
Uh-huh.
Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown, the unofficial sumo podcast for official sumo fans. This is Ryan.
This is Fleric.
This is Jake.
This is Mac.
And this is our
I'm sorry. We need to
Aki-
start over. I had Fleric and Mac switched, and I don't want to have to redo my overlay.
Oh. Are
Okay,
you
we're good.
local recording?
The overlay. It's all about the overlay.
Oh God, I don't want to have to like move the names.
Could just accept it and edit halfway through the intro.
Or we just leave it in. Mac, if it's funny, leave it in. See how this
I
goes
may.
during
I'll
the yeah.
include it at the end as a nugget.
Let us know how it goes during the edit. Yeah.
No, switch it. Make sure it's the right. It's a pain in the ass to get the overlay.
Okay, now that Ryan's off his rhythm, let's try this again.
Perfect. All right, that was the idea.